In this recording, we're going to talk about what is real GDP, nominal GDP. We'll try to illustrate that with the help of the simple numerical example. What is per capita GDP? And we'll look at few questions based on the above concepts. So when you look at GDP, you know this, that GDP is nothing but the value of the final goods and services which are produced in the country, right? So when you try to find out GDP for the particular year, right, using the quantity and the prices for that particular year only, that is nominal GDP. So when you write a nominal GDP, you write it like this. You write it like this. So for example, there are two goods which are produced, X and Y, and the price of good X in, let's say, 2022 is this, and the quantity is Q of 2022. Price of good Y is, you can just write X here, Y here. So GDP is, or nominal GDP is, the value of final goods and services produced in a given year, right? Expressed in the prices of that particular year, right? Expressed in the prices of that particular year. So it's a nominal GDP. (2022). These are expressed in the prices of that particular year. What about real GDP? Real GDP for 2022. Let's say we take 2019 as the base year. So we are going to look at what is going to be the value of the final goods and services which are produced in the economy in 2022, but we are going to take up the prices in 2019. I'll tell you why we do so. So real GDP for 2022 would be price of X in 2019 into quantity of X in 2022 plus price of Y in 2019, quantity of Y in 2022. Right, that is what real GDP is. So it's the value of final goods and services produced in a particular year, that is produced in 2022, expressed in the price of the base year. So we are assuming that base year is 2019. Let us say base year is 2019. So just think about it, that even if the quantities would not have changed, say for example, quantities of 2022 were same as the quantity produced in 2019, but the prices in 2022 has increased. So in case the prices have increased, then the nominal GDP is going to increase, but that's of no use to us. हमारे लिए तब फायदा है जब हम ये कहें कि जीडीपी में जो इजाफा हुआ है वो आउटपुट के बढ़ने की वजह से हुआ है, ना कि प्राइसेस के बढ़ने की वजह से. एक लाइन लिखेंगे, note that changes in prices of goods will affect the value of GDP without any underlying changes in production. Without any underlying changes in production. और इकोनॉमी में तो ये होता ही है कि टेंडेंसी है प्राइसेस के बढ़ने की, इन्फ्लेशन की टेंडेंसी है. आपकी क्वांटिटीज अभी भी उतनी ही है मान लेते हैं 2022 में जो कि 2019 में रही थी, लेकिन प्राइसेस बढ़ गए. तो क्योंकि प्राइसेस बढ़ गए हैं तो जो इंक्रीज इन जीडीपी आपको दिखाई देगा, लेकिन ये तो किसी फायदे किसी काम का नहीं है. वी नीड, व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट दैट इकोनॉमी हैज प्रोग्रेस्ड, वी आर इंटरेस्टेड इन दैट आउटपुट हैज इंक्रीज, नॉट जस्ट द प्राइसेस. There is a tendency for prices to rise, right? जो nominal GDP है, that is allowing both prices and quantities to change. But if you look at real GDP, since we are taking the prices, the base year is constant. So those are not changing, only the quantities are going to change. So if there is an increase in real GDP, that is what is meant by that there is going to be an increase in output, right? So please write real GDP corrects for inflation. Because nominal GDP allows for both prices and quantities to change, so it is inferior to real GDP. It is inferior to real GDP. Inferior in terms of what? We are interested in measuring how output has increased, not just the prices has increased. Because when output has increased, then you say that the welfare is increasing, right? You can satisfy more wants of the people. For measuring output has changed over time. And also in the base year, because I mean, supposedly if I take 2019 as the base year, then the nominal GDP and real GDP in 2019 will remain same. The base year, real GDP is equal to nominal GDP. So look at the one numerical example. So there is an year 2019, 2022. There is good X and price of good X, quantity of good X, good Y, price of good Y, quantity of good Y. Price of good X is 3.5, let's say. Quantity of good X is 3000. Price of good Y is price of good X in 2022 is 4.25. Quantity is 3000. Price of good Y is 1. Quantity is 1500. This is 1.25. This is 1000. Right? So if I need to find out what is the nominal GDP, in 2019, right? And 2019 is the base year, right? 2019 is the base year. So it is going to be what? Nominal GDP is going to be 3.5 into 3000 plus 1 into 1500. Price of X into quantity of X plus price of Y into quantity of Y. That comes out to be 12,000, right? Nominal GDP in 2022 is going to be price of X into quantity of X plus price of Y into quantity of Y. That comes out to be 14,000. Real GDP in 2019. 2019 as the base year. So it is same as the nominal GDP only, because in case if this is the base year and you're trying to find the real GDP, it is same, right? 3.5 into 3000 plus 1 into 1500, that comes out to be 12,000. And real GDP in 2022, 2019 as the base year, keeping 2019 as the base year, this will be what? 3.5 into 3000 plus 1 into 1000. Plus 1 into 1000. That comes out to be 11,500. So the point is that if you look at the nominal GDP has increased from 12,000 to 14,000, but real GDP has fallen. So we should not be very happy just looking at nominal GDP, right? If you look at the quantities, the quantity of Y has decreased. You are finding out the increase in nominal GDP only because of the increases in prices, not because of the increase in the quantity. The quantity has actually fallen. Note that. Nominal GDP has increased from 12,000 to 14,000. But real GDP decreased from 12,000 to 11,500. Then you have per capita GDP. So let's say if you look at GDP in your country also, so that GDP has increased. But the number of people living in your country has also increased a lot. So, I mean, how are you distributing that GDP? So GDP per capita is very important to understand the overall well-being in the economy. So GDP per capita is the value of all goods and services produced per person per year. तो जिन कंट्रीज के अंदर जीडीपी पर कैपिटा ज्यादा होता है, उधर हर आदमी के पास ज्यादा मटेरियल पोजीशंस हो सकती हैं, ज्यादा वांट सेटिस्फाइड हो सकती हैं. तो सिर्फ जीडीपी ज्यादा होने से, फॉर एग्जांपल अगर आप इंडिया की जीडीपी देखें और किसी छोटी कंट्री की, मान लीजिए यूएई की जीडीपी देखें या और किसी और छोटी कंट्री की जीडीपी देखें, तो आप पाएंगे कि जीडीपी तो इंडिया की बहुत ज्यादा है, बट इंडिया की पॉपुलेशन भी बहुत है. right? So even though GDP has increased, but the number of people who are living in the country, that has also increased. Even though GDP has increased between 2019 to 2022 in India. But the number of people living in India has also increased over the same period. तो जीडीपी पर कैपिटा यूज करने की आवश्यकता है. जो भी गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज प्रोड्यूस है वो पर पर्सन इकोनॉमी में कितना प्रोड्यूस हुआ है, राइट? हाँ, सो जीडीपी पर कैपिटा is the value of all goods and services produced in the economy per person. तो आप कैसे लिखते हो जीडीपी पर कैपिटा? जीडीपी upon population, राइट? जिन कंट्रीज की हाई जीडीपी पर कैपिटा होती है उधर लोगों के पास फूड, क्लोथिंग, मटेरियल पोजेशंस ज्यादा होती हैं, राइट? हाई जीडीपी पर कैपिटा people are likely to have more possessions, right? Now let's look at few numerical problems based on the concept which you have just done, which is suppose nominal GDP. Please write the question. Suppose nominal GDP in a country increased by 5% in 2021. Over its base level in 2019. What would have happened to real GDP between 2019 and 2021? Right. Can you just think of the problem? But a nominal GDP has increased. You can't say anything about real GDP, right? Real GDP could have actually increased, decreased, or whatever. I mean, nominal GDP can increase because of the increases in the price level. It can also increase because of the increases in quantity, right? This is possible that real GDP can also increase, decrease, or it can remain same. We don't know what has happened to the real GDP without more information. So nominal GDP can increase because of changes in price level. And or changes in real output. And or changes in real output. जैसे नॉमिनल जीडीपी अगर आप लिखें तो कैसे लिखोगे? मैं मान लो सिर्फ एक ही गुड के लिए लिखता हूँ, पी एक्स क्यू एक्स, या फिर आप ऐसे लिखें P2019 Q29, ठीक है? हाँ। और इन नॉमिनल जीडीपी इन 2022 लिखना हो तो कैसे लिखोगे? P2022 इंटू Q2022। रियल जीडीपी लिखना हो तो इन 2022 कैसे लिखोगे? P2019 इंटू Q2022। अब आपको what has been given is that nominal GDP has increased, right? Nominal GDP has increased. So nominal GDP has increased. It can increase because of increase in price, increase in quantity, or both. That is possible. That is possible. But whether real GDP has increased or not, this you don't know, because ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है कि क्वांटिटी गिर गई हो, क्वांटिटी गिर गई हो लेकिन प्राइसेस बहुत बढ़ गए हो, उसकी वजह से नॉमिनल जीडीपी आ रहा हो, बढ़ा हुआ, रियल जीडीपी कम हुआ। ये भी हो सकता है कि क्वांटिटी बढ़ी हो, तो फिर से रियल जीडीपी बढ़ेगा बिकॉज P2019 तो सेम है। या फिर ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि क्वांटिटी में कोई चेंज ही ना हो, राइट? सो इट कैन बी व्हाटएवर, यू डोंट नो। So increase in nominal GDP would mean would mean that this economy is actually producing more, less or same। हम नहीं कह सकते, हमारे को नहीं पता कि रियल जीडीपी हैज इंक्रीज्ड और नॉट, वी डोंट नो। Let's look at the another problem. So let's say economy produces two goods, X and Y, and it is assumed that half of it are bought and consumed as final good. And other half produce Y. And other half to produce Y. तो 2 years है बेटा, 2019 है, उसमें Px is 2, X is 30, Py is 7, Y is 20. And 2021 है, Px is 4, X is 40, Py is 8, Y is 30. Py is 8, Y is 30. Right. So if we calculate real GDP, in 2019 and 2021, keeping 2019 as base year. Keeping 2019 as base year. तो देखो बेटा, you are keeping 2019 को base year लिया है, तो फिर nominal GDP in 2019 and real GDP in 2019 will remain same. So real GDP in 2019. Okay. X जो है, half of the X is used as the final consumption and other half is used to produce Y. So we won't be using half of X as the final consumption. Only half, I mean, half of 30 is going to be used. GDP is the value of final goods and services, because other 15 is used as an intermediate input for producing 20 units of Y. So that is not coming, that is not going to come in GDP. So we will be using only half of X as the final good. So it is going to be what? 15 plus 7 into 20. That comes out to be 170. Real GDP in 2021. You're going to use these prices only, keeping 2019 prices as the base year. Price of X is 2. Half of X is used the final good. So that is 20. Price of Y is 7 in the base year. Because other half of X is used as an intermediate input for Y. So this comes out to be 250. And then a small problem. If real GDP rises, while nominal GDP falls, price on an average would have increased, decreased, or remain constant. What? Beta, when you write nominal GDP, in 2021, So you write 2021 into quantity of 2021. When you write real GDP of 2021, keeping 2019 as base year, that is going to be like this. Now what they are saying, real GDP has increased. Real GDP has increased. So means the prices have not changed. Only the quantity has increased, right? But nominal GDP has fallen. Nominal GDP has fallen. Here, quantity would have increased. So if you want to have nominal GDP fallen, but you know that real GDP has increased, so it means that quantity would have increased. This thing has increased. But you want ultimately nominal GDP to fall. So it means that prices would have fallen then, and that would have also, prices would have fallen here, right? Then only you can have nominal GDP falling, right? So the answer is prices in general would have fallen, right? Okay, beta. So this is what I wanted to do in this class. Thank you.